Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Ah, Any good news to share?
Um, I'm
Mm.
sure. I'm trying to think. That's sad. Well, I don't know if it's super good news, but it's good news to me. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Um, well, yesterday I woke up sick and
Oh,
got over it really quickly and am fine now. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
okay.
also, I don't know. Do you remember me telling you? Okay. I should ask if I did tell you. I think I
Okay.
did, but I'm not sure. Um, did I tell you about this orphan guy from
Yes. How
from
did that
India?
go? Yeah.
Avinash. So it was really rough at first for him. He was crying every day, just missing
Oh,
home horrible. And worried about finances and everything, just
ooh,
like everything was, he was just
a wreck.
struggling big time. And but I met with him again yesterday. He said, I need to get some essentials. I should just know by now. Indians don't work on the same time frame. And so
Oh,
we got some essentials for 4 hours. But anyway, it was really good for him, first of all,
yeah.
to spend some time with me, but also he said he's finally adjusting better and feels like he has a little bit of friends and
Yeah.
has moved into an apartment with some people who are in his same course of study and who are
Yeah.
also Indians. And anyway, it's good. He's doing a lot better. I have a good friend. Um, she was my spiritual mentor growing up. Okay. Now she's like a
Really?
friend of mine. Yeah. Her name is Connie, and she's adopted three orphans from other countries. And
Mhm.
one of them is Indian.
Oh,
And so she's 17 now. She was a baby when she was adopted. But anyway, I contacted her when all of this happened with Avinash, um and I said, "Hey, I'm sure you have some Indian connections around here because of Sam." And so she said, "Yes." And so she also goes to a church of some kind of pastor friends of ours too.
yeah.
And um and she said, I'd love to get him plugged in here. We have a really great young adult group. And I'm like, that would be awesome. So he is plugged in there. So he has a small group, like church group, to go to, a home group, and also normal church, if you will. So it's
That's
good.
awesome.
He's a new believer. So he converted
Oh,
pretty recently. I think in the last, well, when his dad passed, he was kind of taken in by a pastor friend of mine in India. And so he converted to Christianity then. So he was a Hindu before that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's a new life completely for
Yeah.
him with everything. So anyway,
Outstanding. That's some really good news.
it is good. Hi, Robert.
hi. Hello.
So yeah, anyway, it's not like life changing. It is for him. It's just, yeah. So that's been
Hmm.
nice. And the Lord has
That is
given
life
me,
changing.
how we've talked about our areas of influence and stuff like that. And um it's really been important for me in the last year to not just think about the areas of influence, but who is supposed to be on my mountain that I'm taking care of, and who am
Mm.
I trying to like carry their burden? You know what I
And you
mean?
can't. Hmm.
Or carry. maybe not their burden, carry their own responsibilities. And so I've been really careful lately to ask, am I supposed to take care of this person or is it not mine? Because I don't want to, get roped into something I'm not supposed to be doing.
Ooh.
And with Avinash, it's been really clear, like the Lord has, said you need to treat him like he's one of your own children. And so
Yeah.
I've been, it's interesting because he's 22, right? So older than all of my kids. But it's been good to see how the Lord provides, like if he needs groceries, I'll buy him groceries and just depend on the Lord to cover the bill because, I don't have extra money for paying for other people's groceries. Um, but it's been really awesome to see the Lord show up because he's shown me to take care of him like that. And so anyway, it's been a huge blessing. And so I was able to buy some things for him, a new coat and different things that he needed yesterday because he has like no money at all. So it's been hard for him he's like sleeping on the floor, no blanket. So we bought a blanket and a pillow and I'm trying to find an air mattress and, things like that to at least get him taken care of. But anyway, it's a different life. Yeah. Okay, what did you say? You could speak out loud. Okay. Oh, I see. Um, oh, that's nice. Okay. Um, Well, yeah, it's been really cool to see. I don't know. I've said this to you guys before, and it's kind of what the Lord has told me to rely on, but he's like, if it's my will, it's my bill. He always says that to me. And so I don't have to worry about where it's coming from. I just know it will show up. And I never know how. I just know it'll happen. And so if he's calling me to it, I always know he'll provide for it. And anyway, I hope that everything with Avinash will be good and he'll learn to lean on the Lord like that too.
Yes.
Anyway, so how about let's take a moment and Preston, I don't know if you saw, but Yachim has load shedding until 10 o'clock my time. So yeah, he'll be hopping on in the middle of class and then catching up with the video for the rest of it. Okay. All right. Well, let's press in and see what's happening in the classroom. Okay. Okay. If you could focus back here, that'd be great. Awesome. All right. Tell me, did you experience anything when you were pressing in just now? Yes, fair. Go first. And then you nominate someone.
It's a little loud here. I'm in the country, so it's trains blowing, but I think you guys can hear me.
Oh, yeah, fine.
And yeah, okay. All right. So I saw a lot. So I saw a lot of oil being released for healing for the soul and the physical body. I don't know if it was just in the classroom, but I saw that. I saw like a rearranging of the classroom area. Something is going on. New beings are being assigned to people. And then I heard new position. And the neatest little image that I got was, you know how I've never been in the military, but you know how they would measure people in respect to their height, their weight, and their abilities. I saw that being done, and people are going to gain new abilities and strength.
That's cool.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
So, all right. And so I heard he's moving you forward. But then I was also told that I need to make sure that I go back and renounce the areas that I was identifying as lack and areas where I was just discouraged and just, yeah. And then I didn't know that they have time beings. They have, so time beings are being released to partner with me. That's weird. That's different. And so, yeah, that's what I saw.
Yay. That's cool. Thank you. All right.
All right, Patricia.
I knew she was gonna go for me. So I didn't see a lot. It was more. So what I did hear was the word regalo, which regalo in Italian is gift, and it was like I was asking Jesus what you want to show me, and he was basically saying, "I'm a treasure," and he's going to unwrap me to, make him shine in me, basically, and unwrap me. And even as I say that, I'm really struggling with this because I know this is my time, and he's trying to push me forward gently. But it's like I'm putting the brakes on, and I'm so intimidated. It's almost like I know there is a greatness in me, and I'm afraid to let it out. And how people are going to react to that. And anyways, that's what I saw. And then as I guess I heard feathers, so I guess there are angels there too. That's all I saw. So I guess Robert, you're the only one left. You're gonna get bit.
I engaged, and the only thing I saw was I just saw my team, like there were like three of them, and I kind of went to the center of the classroom and they just patted me on the back. And I was like, okay, I wasn't real sure why, but it was like, and I felt like it was comforting and it was like an encouraging type thing. But I kind of asked, I was like, well, why am I getting patted on the back? Why am I getting this? And I haven't really gotten anything from that, but that's what I saw, and that's all I saw. So I'm just, very simple, very plain, and that's it.
Okay, well, I wanted to say something. It kind of has to do with that. Um, and my experience was, uh, I suppose, similar in a different way than what Robert was saying. But I walked into the classroom, and for some reason, I felt like I needed Yeshua to lead me into the classroom this time, which usually I just show up. It's like I just focus there, if that makes sense. There's no like going. And, but I did, and might be because of what we're talking about today. But as soon as I walked in, all of a sudden, everyone in the class, like, and there were a lot of beings in the class, everybody started clapping for me. And I'm like, why? And then when they did, though, it like made me start floating up in the middle. and it's like, it was really weird to me because I'd not experienced anything like that before. And it's like, it kind of also went with what Fair you were saying. It felt like being raised into a new kind of position or something. And so I'm not exactly sure about it all, but I grabbed Arrayus and Lady Wisdom, like, to kind of have them come up with me and be honored as well. And um when I did that, it really, the Lord was, I guess, kind of reminding me of, this relates to what you were going through, Patricia. I step out on faith in kind of a big way in the earth in ways that are hard, and I get attacked a lot for it, right? And which is common, any kind of person who steps out will get attacked. Okay. It's like pretty normal, whether you're a public figure or not. But especially when you're a public figure, then people think they need to attack you. And so, generally, for me, if I get people attacking, it's religious folk. That's how it works for me. But the Lord was just reminding me of how it doesn't matter how I'm honored in the earth. It only matters what he thinks of me and, all of that. And so as the classroom was like, kind of honoring me and putting me, like, helping me come to a different level, it was really this, reminder of how it's what the Father tells me to do, and all of my treasures in heaven, and all of my honors in heaven, and everything that people think on the earth honestly doesn't matter at all, whether it's good or bad. It really matters what the Father thinks of me and what he's calling me to do and how I'm partnering in heaven. And so anyway, that's kind of what the theme was for me when we were pressing in about it. But
I'm glad you shared that because I had a Mary Kay party yesterday, and it went well, but at the same time, it didn't. It went well because I had more party comments. My whole demeanor shifted when one of the people that attended countered. She was, they call it the heckler type of thing, very kind of boisterous person. But she was sweet because she was trying to help. I mean, she wasn't, you know, doing it out of anything evil. She was just being herself, right? And trying to help. It's just that she interrupted my flow. And so then I started to get lost track. And obviously I didn't practice enough to remember everything. So it was just felt disconnected. But I have to remember that it doesn't matter how he came out. It's that I was obedient to what the God was showing me to do, and I did it. And so, and it turned out to be a blessing. But you're right. It's reminding myself what the Lord has. but I feel that there is still some fear that I'm dealing with, and it's almost like a hiding place for me, meaning that there is another part of me that come out to deal with situation like that. That is not that is not the real me, but is like something that I don't know. I take a step back when I have this type of I don't say confrontation, but engagement with people that they are really a very strong personality, which is interesting because I am one, but that's the problem because I know I am one. And if I go all out, it's going to be sparks. And I'm afraid of that spark and what is the outcome of that, right? And so that's what I need to talk to the Lord about.
Well, I have a word for you in this.
Oh, yes, please.
Now, I know that you've done Mary Kay before and you're trying to step in a new way and, kind of restart everything. But the Lord has taught me a lot, and so has actually Mary Kay Ash from the Heavenly Realms taught me a lot about what to do and not to do. And the real point is to help people. And it is not to get everything right or make sure you have everything together or, there are all sorts of different ways you can do it, but you need to just be yourself. And your self is good enough. It is not only good enough, but you were made to do this. The Lord has called you to it. And if the Lord calls you to it, he will equip you with everything you need. And so if you forget one thing, oh crap, I forgot to get referrals or something. I'm making that up, but you understand. It does not
Yes.
matter at all. Like it really doesn't matter at all. It just matters, are you helping people with your gifts? Because that's why the Lord is calling you to it. And so you're going to be fine and you're going to step out and be yourself and you'll be bold. And sometimes people won't like you and sometimes people will think you're the best thing that ever happened. And so, just it doesn't matter. It's whatever the Lord says about you, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, how about let's share some homework? Okay.
Okay.
So get out your questions if you need to or whatever. And I want you to, if you will, please share more than you think you need to share. Okay. I do not mean take half an hour. Okay. But I do mean be vulnerable. Okay. Because it's so interesting because I talked to almost all of you this week. I don't think I talked to you fair this week, did I? On a Zoom, but everyone else I did. And what you put on your, when you wrote it down is nothing compared to the experience you had. And I have noticed that generally when you share on here, you just share that much and you don't but we want to learn from each other. That's the whole point. And so when you share the cool stuff, okay? Because that's what is going to bless everybody else. It's not just saying you did it. All right. Cool. Okay, let's start with Patricia.
Oh, okay, of course. So, okay, so you want me to go through the whole question? So just briefly,
You can just share the most important stuff to you. And if that's all of it, that's cool. But just share whatever sticks out to you.
So one of the things that sticked out to me about the timeline was my health, and the Spanish heritage and the good life. Like I'm half Spanish and half Italian, and it came to my attention that my family in Italy is truly a blessed family. I mean, it's beautiful people. They live a long life. I mean, past 90 years old. And it's just a beautiful family. But not the case with my Spanish side. they died young, they had, rough life. And so one of the things the Lord was pointing and wanted to focus was my health so that I can enjoy the long and good life, basically. But in one of the session that I did with Christine, actually, the cool part was that I wasn't even planning, but somehow I started to go through my notes that I had in my phone, and I came across the scroll. And I said, did we ask about the scroll before? And so we figure out that I really didn't ask about it in specific. And so we both went up there, whatever that is. So in the and so
We went to the scroll room.
we went to the scroll room. Now the light was off, so Christine had to turn the light on. And there were a lot of scrolls. And did the Lord tell me to pick one, or did I
The
ask to
Lord was
pick one? But anyway,
asking you to find the one that was yours or something like that.
okay, so that was it. So the next thing I know, what I did remember seeing was that I felt like, first of all, it felt like a warm room, like there was, like you go in a beautiful, library with, mahogany, just warm colors. But I felt in that environment, I felt like there was a big desk. I didn't see that, but I felt like I was in front of a desk and the Lord was on the other side. And next thing I know, I felt like he had the scroll in his hand, my scroll. And next thing I see this bright light. I mean, it felt like someone just put the flashlight on me. And next thing I know, I start to kind of get emotional and tear up because I feel like, when you finally waiting for something and you finally, oh my gosh, it's really happening, and then I felt like I was signing something. Either I was taking up land or getting married. I don't know, but it was something important. And I didn't see myself sign, but Christine told me that she actually saw me standing up and I was signing. But it felt like it was the big thing. And before we went, the Lord told me that I was going as Queen Esther. So when I went in there, I went in as Queen Esther. And I saw myself with my beautiful clothing. But it was really neat because I felt some things and I didn't have clear vision of what was happening. But then Christine shared what she actually saw, and then it connected because she actually, well, I saw that bright light to be, it came actually from the scroll. She actually saw the scroll being open and she saw this bright light. And that's what it was, which is very encouraging to me because, like, I thought, am I making this stuff up? Um, and instead it was actually really happening because she saw it, but we didn't like talk to each other, and we were just then recounting of it afterwards, and it was such a beautiful experience. And even after that, throughout the days after that, I've been thinking about that, and it just brings joy to my heart, that the Lord wanted to open that scroll for me. And that's all, that was very touching for me. So out of all these, sometimes I might not see clearly, or I might just feel, but it is a blessing to me when I go with someone to get their perspective of what's happening, so that it encourages me. That's all. Thank you.
That's good. Hey, hold on before you nominate someone.
Okay.
I just wanted to say this. I've heard this from most of you. The homework at first seemed discouraging, because it was like, I'm not ready for this. What am I in? You know, what's happening? I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing because I haven't experienced this stuff. And I was telling Robert last night, because he was sharing some really great stuff that he was getting. And I was telling him, I hope you guys understand that the whole reason I'm going into some things that are a little bit foreign, and not everything's going to be foreign for everybody. Okay. So each person's going to be a little different in what they have experienced or not. But the point is so that you will be opened up to new experiences. So when you do the homework, you're not supposed to be going in and saying, oh, this is what I've done. This is what the Lord has shown me in the past. We're not talking about that. We're talking about newness. Like this right now, this is what the Lord's showing me. Like, okay. So how are you supposed to redeem the time? Ask the Lord to help you redeem the time right then. Like that's the whole point. You know, how are you what realms? I don't think I've done any realms. What are you talking about? Okay, Lord, will you please show me something that I haven't seen before? That's the point, is to ask for the new experiences. And when we seek the experiences, it's all about growing in intimacy and relationship. It's not just about, oh, I want to be cool and be able to name a different realm. Nobody cares. Like nobody cares about that. You know, maybe people would be curious, but that's not the point. The point is deeper relationship and being able to get to know him more, get to know yourself more, especially start living more from heaven. That's the whole point. Being heavenly beings. That's who we are. And that's kind of the whole point of this class, is being able to minister from heaven in the way that the Lord has said we're supposed to be walking. And so we're just trying to be more like him. Anyway, I say that to say it was an awesome experience that we had in the scroll room. And that was a new part that you haven't seen before, you know, something new that the Father was bringing you, and you're even interacting with Yeshua in there and having these more intimate it's an intimate relationship. It just grew you further in, right? I mean,
Yes.
isn't that
Yes.
cool that we're seeking, you know, some strange realm and going, I guess I'll press into this weird thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I love you, Lord. Like that's the whole point. It's awesome. So anyway, thank you, Patricia. Who do you nominate?
Robert.
Robert.
Okay. All right. I don't remember exactly the order of how this all went, but the realms, I had the same experience right at first. I was kind of like, what realms? You know, kind of like, what you talking about? You know, I was like, so I just said, okay, God, I'm just gonna like I stepped into an invisible realm. I just said, by faith, I just step in, and that's all I could do, you know. And I went from there, and so I kind of was like, I guess you'll reveal it to me as we go, you know. So as I went on to other parts of the homework, the one about the timeline kind of jumped out at me. I felt like, if anything, that was really, you know, something that I could relate to. I felt like that I was learning to alchemize all these emotions in me, you know, and then God started showing me that the reason why I had not alchemized is because my experience with and it came back to my mother, was that, you know, she felt betrayed by my father, because he had an affair while she was pregnant with me. So I feel like in a lot of ways that she wasn't really all excited about me coming into the world. So there wasn't a welcoming, you know, reality. There was a point where she was dealing with my dad again, and she was really frustrated. And I was a baby, and I was, you know, trying to get my needs met and all this kind of stuff. And she hit me because I was crying, and that kind of like shut me down, but what I realized was God started showing me. He said, I disconnected from my mother. She disconnected from me. And in all that, I never experienced what she could do for me. Like she would be the one that would alchemize my emotions. She would calm me down. She would, bring order into the chaos. She would bring peace into and all the fear, whatever, and it was like, I didn't really experience that. I learned to just do it all on my own. So I did the best I knew how to. So I didn't really know what alchemizing was. So God was doing that. So God was showing me, He said, this is what I'm redeeming. I'm going back in your timeline. All your emotions, everything from birth forward, I'm alchemizing all these emotions. I'm bringing comfort. I'm bringing, like shifting them, changing them. And I started realizing that a lot of my emotions that had been core emotions that were affecting me even to this day, like they were like traumas that were like foundational type things. So I was like, whoa, then the next question was about the group, my group in the classroom, and asking them what realm they're from, and didn't get a whole lot out of that one because they basically, one of them said, I'm from the clouds. That was all I heard. And I was like, okay, which I do know that is a form of the a lower heaven, and stuff, but it was kind of like, all right, so I believe that these angels, if I get anything from that, I feel like in the air is the stuff that can really affect our emotions, can affect how we perceive, and there's a lot of energy and stuff in that thing, and that angel was from that realm and has the ability to shift that realm, and has the ability to really manage that area. So I feel like that's the reason that angel's been sent to me. So then the last was, what were I can't remember exactly what the last question was, but we were, between Fear and I, we were engaging, and it was something about what experiences we were having, and the thing that hit me all of a sudden at that point when we got to that question was, all of a sudden I kind of heard this sound like God was saying to me, that the realm that I was going to experience, that the only way I could get into that realm was wholeness. Okay, like becoming whole. So I was like, well, that's interesting. And I realized all this other stuff that I have, all the alchemizing, all the going through the timeline, that was all a work of wholeness in me, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I went to and heard the word holiness, like becoming holy, being holy as He is holy, that same word, I've always translated it as, God is holy. He means He is complete and whole, and He needs nothing else. So when He invites us to be holy, He's saying, I'm inviting you into my wholeness. I'm inviting you into becoming whole inside, So I was like, oh, I can relate to that. Then I heard someone else say later this week, I heard someone teaching, and they said, do you know what the word holy means in the Aramaic? And I was like, no, I've never heard this. And I was like, ooh, I was all excited. And they were basically saying it's where God makes space for something. It's actually, the word means to make space. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. God's making space for me and everything. And then it all of a sudden hit me. And God said, that's the reason the realm that He was opening up for me, what it involved wholeness. It wasn't that He wasn't going to allow me to see it, but what it was the word wholeness has the same word as holiness, which in the Aramaic meant space, meaning the realm that God was showing me was the realm that I was going to create with Him to make space for it. Like I had to actually create it. I had to create it. It wasn't like this realm was just sitting there, you know, it was like it was so new that he and I were creating this realm. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, you know. And then this morning, I was sitting there kind of engaging again and thinking about my homework. Um, I heard God say to me, that realm is your life. He said, you've never really stepped into the realm of your life. You sat from the outside and watched and just,
Wow.
you know, saw it from almost like a third person reality. And he said, what I'm doing is I'm opening up this realm, and this realm is your life. So, if that makes any sense.
That's interesting.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing that, because the alchemizing my emotion, that really spoke to me. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Oh, Robert, you're
And
muted.
And fair is
no,
next.
sorry.
Fair is next.
It's very
Yeah, it's me. All right, so I have to pull it off of my notes. And sorry for the formatting, Christine. I didn't notice that it was a bad shifting error with typing, so please forgive me.
I didn't see it
All right.
weirdly, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just in this section. Okay. All right, so what was question number 1? Can I get the prompt and then I'll
Okay, hold on. I'll have to pull it up.
next time I'll write my question.
It was something about
Ask the
realm.
Lord
Two
to reveal
realms.
to you another way
Okay.
you function in a new realm or dimension. Yeah, it was
Okay.
about realm.
All right. So what I heard, you have the ability to redeem time by pulling timelines together. And then I saw like a person, like a little figure, actually pulling like lines together and making them one.
Uh-huh.
And then I heard it's connected to the Ancient of Days court. I heard you have to press in at times to receive instructions from Yeshua on how to do this. So, and they just kept reiterating different strategies will be given to me at different time. And I was also told again that I have access to healing realms for soul and for health issues. And again, I was just reminded that it will instructions will be given and that I may have to repeatedly do this. And so the angel told me, you think that things should happen all at once because it's coming from heaven. So he kept reminding me of that. And then for the second one, I heard that he wants to heal your timeline of devastation and brokenheartedness. And then I was told that they want me to interact with people more again. And don't worry, you won't show the sadness. That's one of my concerns. I'm an oversharer if you press me. You know, I'm not a good liar. If you ask me something, it might just blurt out, you know? Are y'all like that?
Well, sometimes.
Anywho. And so I was reminded about that. And then I saw that I'm able to press into different realms, but this realm very different as there's lions with wings. Have y'all seen anything like that? But it's
I have not seen
and
it in the heavenly realms yet, but I have seen that in lots of I don't know, mythology sort of things, which I have found most of that stuff is true.
okay.
So it's very possible is what I'm saying.
Okay. So I
Yeah,
saw
I've seen
it's
that.
like okay, but it was lions with wings, and you know how I am. I started like really speaking in tongues, like, Lord, am I saying correctly? Help me, Jesus. And so they didn't speak, but I could tell that they were present.
Mm.
And I'm just hearing we communicate in thought. So I guess they are around me, even present day. Then I saw where the Lord has given me the ability to stack rims. So they stack up and then you can command them to collapse together. That was really odd. But I think that kind of like consolidates things and bring things to the present to where we are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then I have my light being friends, and I don't know what dimension that they're in. Um, yeah. And I was told that I'm able to work with the breath of God along with the light being, so I can release the breath of God, and it's like a newness, a refreshing, and it'll help people with hope and healing.
That's cool.
So that's my homework.
Awesome. Thank you
Still
guys for
learning.
sharing. That was good. Well, I think we're all still learning all the time. New stuff. I mean, it happens to me all the time. Even just when I was engaging with Patricia, um, you know, it's really weird. I was telling her I don't often go to the scroll room. I've been there a couple times, but I don't receive things from there. That's something that in my first experience there I figured out. But because I only get to go there when I'm with other people who are called to go there. And so it's kind of cool when we can experience different things with other people. And so, you know how sometimes, I don't know if you ever try to do your homework or something and you're trying to press in about something, but you're like, Lord, why am I getting nothing? Um, I mean, this happens to me all the time. All the time. I have people who'll be like, hey, engage over me for this. And I'll press in and I'm like, Lord, what's wrong with me? Why am I getting nothing? But if I engage with them, then I get way more. Like I'll get tons of stuff. And it's interesting how we're made to work together like that. And we get new things when we do it. So I think I love switching everybody up to engage with each other in different ways. But you can do it with other people outside of class too if you have people who engage. Just even if you want to go, hey, can you help me press in about this? You can do that. It's fine. Um, because you might be able to see different things that you don't usually see because they have different callings and stuff. So it's kind of cool. Um, I'm going to shift gears and we're going to go into traveling in the spirit. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you're happy, Fair. You know what happens to me every time I'm like, oh man, they're going to hate this. This is always what I think. Every time I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't understand. But I I'll tell you some of my experiences and why I think it's important. Okay. I think traveling in the spirit is so there are so many different ways that we can do it and things that the Lord will call us to do. And I don't believe that you must do this to have a fulfilling walk. Um, but I do believe that it's for us. Okay. And um, I want to tell you when I first started engaging, I think I've told you this, where the Father told me that I was supposed to lead people into the heavenly realms, but I didn't even know how to go there myself. Like, do you remember this? I don't know if I think I told you this. Well, it was very intimidating for me because I was like feeling like a complete newbie. And how would the Father call me to do something like this? It seemed like a big deal. And the first time I had to lead someone was really I was and I started engaging with this guy named Matthew, and generally we engaged with a group. We were at the same time growing together in this stuff. And one of the things is I shared my experience with him where the Father told me that I needed to be an intercessor and bring people to the heavenly realms. Well, he took my calling more serious than I did, I think. And so he was like, "Hey, can I introduce you to my spirit mom," is what he called her, but the lady who raised him in the faith. Okay. And I'm like, "Of course." And so she was in a different state. We met on Zoom, and um she is a really unique person who the Lord would just take her on trips, is what she called it. But it wasn't like, drug trips. This was like, she's traveling in the spirit with him. And she knew no one who did that in the whole earth. And the Lord was doing this with her almost every night. And he told her that she would have people who would partner with her in doing this, and she would have eventually a team of people who would be traveling in the spirit with her. But she'd been doing this for years and had nobody else. So she's sharing this, and then Matthew says, "Christine, can you lead us into the heavenly realms?" And I'm like, "Sure." Thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm supposed to do it. And so because I had no idea, I leaned absolutely completely on Yeshua. And I was just like, "Yeshua, will you please help us?" And he just led us and had us have a great experience. And after that experience, this lady said to me, "Yeshua just told me that you are supposed to travel in the spirit with me." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." Thinking, all this is new to me anyway, so I'm down for whatever the Lord says. And so she said, "When the Lord leads, I will call you and then we'll do this together." And I said, "Okay." And I had no idea what to expect. And I had not heard anything about people traveling in the spirit before. There are these places in the Bible that talk about it, and I pretty much just skipped over it or something because I didn't even remember it. There, yeah. Anyway, it seemed very mystic, like crazy experience. But I could just feel the Holy Spirit super strong in this lady. You know what I mean? Where you can't really doubt that she's really following the Lord. And so I just thought, well, if the Lord says to do it, I'll do it. If the Lord doesn't, I won't. And so one day, probably not a week later, she called me up and said, "Hey, Christine, are you available? The Lord is saying that we need to travel together." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. How does this work?" And she's like, "We just do whatever he leads us to do." And I'm like, "Perfect." That's that's how I am. And so anyway, the very first time, this is what happened. We just focused in on Yeshua, and he kind of wrapped us up inside of himself. Okay. If you can imagine, kind of as if he had wings and was wrapping his wings around and we're on the inside of him. It was like that, except he didn't actually have wings. And we actually went from one place and traveled to another place. So for me, that was really weird because I'm used to kind of just focusing and then I'm whatever, wherever. But we literally moved with him and traveled, and he took us to Zambia. I'd never even heard of Zambia. At that time, didn't really know much of anything about Africa. It's funny now I'm like marrying an African guy. But I had no idea really much about Africa before then, except for it was a continent that existed and had a bunch of countries I'd never heard of. And so we went to Zambia, and it was so weird. Okay, for me, it was super weird for me because it wasn't like engaging heaven, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting this kind of, you know, how, at least how I am, when I engage in the heavenly realms, I don't see clearly at all. Like, it's, you know, how the scripture that talks about it's like looking in a mirror dimly. That's how it feels to me. I get a sense of things I can kind of see, but I also kind of don't see. And I kind of hear, but I don't hear. And I don't know if that makes sense, but everything's kind of muted in a way. That's how it is for me when I engage every time. I mean, once in a while, he'll show me something pretty clearly, but it's not normal for me. But this experience was I'm there, and it's like I'm literally actually there because I feel the dirt under my feet. I feel the air. I smell things. Everything is literally just like I'm talking to you and I'm looking at my mic. And you know what I'm saying? Everything was exactly, I saw everyone's facial expressions. It was very normal life. And it was kind of weird for me because I understood I'm talking on the phone in my bed with this lady at the same time as literally being there. And it was very strange. I didn't speak their language. And then Yeshua gave us these like tracts sort of things, you know, to give to these little kids that ran up to us. And I don't use tracts. You know, never. I kind of hate them. And so it's weird. Like I was doing this, and then there's this lady sweeping with this kind of broom that's made out of straw or something, you know, like one of those kind of brooms. And she's like sweeping this kind of sidewalk, but it was actually dirt. And I don't know why you would sweep dirt. But anyway, I'm watching these things and I'm seeing this guy looking at me like I'm a freak. And I'm realizing like he's really seeing me. And it is a weird experience that I had, but awesome because all of these little kids like got to meet Yeshua, and it was a really cool experience. And then it was over. And I left that experience going, what happened? Did I actually go there? You know, and I'm like, what does this mean? And I talked to my friend Amy about it, who knew way more than me, had been listening to Ian Clayton for like 7 years or something. And so she knew way more than I did. And she goes, oh, you were trans relocating. And I'm like, what does that mean? And, you know, so she's telling me these things. And so then I start having more experiences on my own, and also with this other lady who was, you know, I was traveling with. And sometimes it would be like that. And most times it was not like that. And it was like you're visiting in the spirit, but you're not actually with your body. You know what I mean? So it's just traveling in the spirit and not traveling in the body. Trans relocation is more traveling in the body. It still weirded me out because I didn't understand how I could be in both places until I started to learn about bilocating, which is being in two places at one time. And I didn't even know that was, there's so many things I didn't understand were possible that the Lord led me in. And this started happening, and we started ministering to people all over the world. And it was something that was so powerful, unique. Like we would meet with people who had nobody and were just alone, and we would meet with them and minister to them. And then we'd have other experiences that were like way more kind of, I'm going to say spiritual, all of that spiritual, but you know, you're dealing with bloodline sort of thing in Germany, and, you know, with these different beings that come up and fighting off like weird Nephilim sort of things. And, you know, we would have all sorts of different kinds of experiences. So some were very personal with people, some were really in the spirit more, and all sorts of different things. I learned about expanding my spirit and realized that I'd been expanding my spirit for most of my walk. I just didn't understand that's what I was doing. And I I would go into, like, this is something that was kind of common for me. I would go into a church that was trying to worship, but, you know, have you ever been in a church that they were trying to worship, but it wasn't really pressing in like it was supposed to be? Nobody's looking at me. This is just ridiculous. I love you guys very much, but okay. It's okay. Okay. You need a break or something. I don't know what's happening.
Sorry, I'm not feeling well. I had to get some covers.
It's
But
okay.
yes, I do remember what you just said. I do. I know what you mean, that they were impressing in the church.
Yeah. Okay. So there are times when you go into a worship service or something and it's difficult, right? Have you ever been in worship and you're like, why is this? We're not connecting in the spirit. This isn't really working, if you will. um, the Lord oftentimes would have me, it felt like I was releasing his spirit into the place powerfully. And I learned that I was actually expanding my spirit through the Holy Spirit. And so what I was doing was just expanding real fast with Holy Spirit. And then all of a sudden, everyone would start like really worshiping. Like it would be powerful kind of worship. And um, the Lord started showing me how I can do this, not just locally, like, because I was kind of only doing it where I was. And I didn't realize that it was something I could do further. But he started showing me how if I focus on somebody, I can be with them wherever they are, and I can expand myself over them to love them, to minister to them, whatever it is, heal them, anything like that. And so I started doing that more when he would lead, especially with people who, I don't know why, but when I found out that someone was in the hospital who was close to me or something like that, I would oftentimes be led to like kind of expand my spirit over them and just be with them. And that was something that I was doing. I remember I arrived in South Africa one time with my sister. We had just gotten there, and then we found out that my grandma had a stroke. And it was hard for us to be far away when she had had a stroke and the family was going through this, because we're like we're kind of the spiritual ones. Okay. Everybody is, but we're the ones who kind of carry that in the family and minister the most to people. And so when we found out she was there, I was staying in this hotel room with this other, I call her girl, but she's a lady. It's just, she's a young lady. And I was staying with her and she was asking me, so when something like this happens, what do you do to heal her or whatever? And I'm like, well, maybe I go to the courts, or maybe I would, and I started naming off all these different things. And she goes, well, what did you need to do with her? And I'm like, I don't know. I just found out and I haven't had a chance to press in yet. And so I started pressing in right then. And the Lord just had me expand my spirit over my Grammy Joe and had me climb into bed next to her to just lay with her. And to me, it seemed like, but I really want to heal her. You know what I mean? I didn't really think that that would be the main thing, but that's what the Lord let me do. So of course, that's what I did. When I got back to the States. She was still in the hospital. And when she was kind of out of it for a long time. And then she kind of came to herself, I guess. It's not like she was unconscious, but she wasn't like really fully conscious. And when she said, "Thank you for laying with me when I was doing this." And I was like, I was in South Africa, right? And she said, "You climbed right up into bed with me and laid here with me." And I was like, she felt all the things, And she always was one who always she was asking me to climb up into bed with her. And that was just her thing. She would always want me to cuddle with her. And she knew I was the one who liked to cuddle. So we would do that all the time. So it was special to her. And so sometimes the way that the Lord leads us, it can be super powerful, changing the world, or it could be just really comforting to someone.
Yeah.
And the point is that we grow closer to him as we do it. That no matter why, that we're just open, that we're open to doing whatever he says to do. And even if it's like, this is weird, I don't know why I'm doing this, it will make sense in the end. And it will be all for his glory. And it won't be for something that we're just trying to have a cool experience. It's really about doing what he wants us to do and being open to that. I'm really thankful that I had this lady, Colleen, who was called to travel in the spirit and think that I needed to do it with her, because it opened me up to a whole another way of functioning. And now, I mean, I've had tons of people I've traveled in the spirit with, and we've had great missions, and then other things that were just, great experiences with the Lord. But it's really cool. I think I was telling, it might have been you, Patricia. I might have been telling you about, I can't remember who I'm talking to anymore, but I was just telling someone about, most of the time, almost exclusively, I travel with Yeshua in the spirit. And
Yeah, me.
I was telling you, okay, well, you may get bored then. But there was one time I was at the banqueting table in the Father's house, and I was sitting there with Yeshua and the Father, and I was talking to the Father and saying, Yeshua and I were talking about that we were going to travel in the spirit, and Father asked if he could come with us. And I was like, of course, like, are you kidding? This is like the biggest honor in the world, is how it felt, like amazing. And I don't know why, but I just had never even thought of traveling with the Father. I'm not sure why. I think because I always did with Yeshua. And so the Father said, I want to take you to show you my very favorite being that I've created. And I was like, okay. And very selfishly, I thought, aren't humans your favorite beings? And I don't know why. But this is like, isn't that the thing? And so, no, that wasn't his favorite being. And he took us to, I don't know, this faraway planet in a different galaxy. And we were on this planet, and there were these little, like, tiny creatures that looked kind of like super hairy trolls. And he put one of these on my nose, and he was just here, and he was the sweetest thing. And the Father was showing me how wonderful he is and how much he loves them and all of these things. And I was like, wow. And yeah, I was talking to you about it because we were talking about being friends with God, right? And that's why. And he was showing me, like, to show me, it was because he was trying to show me our friendship. He was wanting to show me more of his heart and like what he loved and things like that. Because honestly, before that, I kind of just went to him for things, and I I mean, I went to him for love and things like that too, but I didn't really know him very well and what he loved and what he liked to do. And I didn't even think of it, which is sad. But that was something that was really special to me. And it was a time that we traveled together and it was unique, you know. And I was talking to Patricia about this, how I've had some people recently who I've met with a lot on private appointments and things who have said that I am their best friend. And I think that is so sweet. And then I think, but you don't even know me. Like, and it's because they share everything with me. But I don't really share a lot. And it's not, I'm not holding anything back. They're here to receive, you know what I mean? And I'm here to give. And so it's not that kind of relationship. And I thought, wow, that is how it is with me and the Lord most of the time. I go to him as my best friend, but would he say I'm his best friend? You know what I mean? And so having some of these experiences, it helps build relationship in a way that you really see his love, his desires, the things
Mhm.
that he likes, his heart. And it's not just about sharing yours and getting healing and, you know, the things we always go to the Father for. We just go kind of for our own everything, right? He's a good
Yes.
therapist. That's terrible, but that's how we kind of treat him. It's like a therapist. Um, anyway, I hope that's helpful. I could tell
Yeah.
a million stories about traveling in the spirit, but we call it translating when you are only traveling with your soul and spirit. So if I'm focusing here and the Lord is taking me there, but my body's not moving, I'm not going with my body. People call that translating. If you are traveling only with your body, with your soul, okay, so you're not in two places at once, you're just in one place. That's trans relocating. If you're traveling with your body and you're in another place same time, that's bilocating. Okay, so if we talk about these things and it gets a little confusing and you're like, wait, what's translating? What's trans relocating? Then you kind of understand translating is just without your body. Okay, it's the easiest way of thinking of it. Look. Yachim.
Hi.
Hello.
Everyone.
Happy unload shedding.
You know, just had the power back now. You know, this load shedding. Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Robert.
Okay. So we've been talking about transrelocation and translating, traveling in the spirit of all kinds, basically, expanding your spirit, these sort of things. So I would like us all to have absolutely no idea what we're doing and engage together and ask Yeshua if he would like to take us on a trip. Okay. And let me tell you this. I have learned we all have very different gifts. You remember Colleen, I was telling you about who I was traveling in the spirit with? Eventually, there became a group, just like the Lord told her. And there was a group of us that we would meet once a week, and the Lord would take us on these kind of missions, okay, mainly. And what I learned is that most of the time, we all kind of had these different roles that we would play. And it wasn't on purpose, it's just what the Lord would lead. I almost always was focused in the heavenly realms and releasing certain things. That's what the Lord would have me do most of the time. There would be someone else who is always on the ground, like talking to people. And then there'd be somebody else who was always working with the heavenly beings in the earth. And then, you know, it was always a little different. But you could see how different people's gifts made their experience completely different. And I also noticed that when certain people wouldn't be there, a lot of times the Lord would lead me into that role that they usually had. And so when we do this, just be open to whatever the Lord leads you to do. Don't feel like you have to be a certain place. Honestly, there have been times when someone's over here in Czechoslovakia and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm feeling this thing in Jordan right now. And so, and it's fine because it always ends up connecting somehow. The Lord always makes it connect, and it's important. And so, as we, by faith, step in and ask if he wants to take us somewhere, let's just be open. And if the Lord has you just sitting and resting and interceding for everyone or something like that, do that. Like, do whatever he's leading you to do. Okay.
Yes.
Any questions first? I feel like I see a couple blank staring. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, let's focus in, guys. Actually, you might keep unmuted because it'll be important that you speak up when you experience something. Okay. Because we might all interact with each other as it's happening. Thank you, Yeshua. Also, it might be helpful if you need, a lot of times if you speak in tongues, you kind of bring your spirit to a different level and interacting with Holy Spirit. And so you can do it a little easier. So if you feel like you need to speak in tongues, be free. I'm really sensing that we need to open ourselves up to oneness with one another in a way of uniting. I don't know how to say this, like intertwining with one another in the spirit and letting our the power that comes, the energy that comes from the Father be reunited together. I also I see there's this room in the heavenly realms in the Father's house. And it's, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like this room of the nations of the earth. And in this room, they're like, it's kind of a big round room, and all along the walls are these different nations. And I feel like one of us is supposed to see, like, have one of the nations kind of pop out to you that we're supposed to go to. And if that happens, we need to just go to that part of the room and see where he's pointing us to in that country. Is anyone getting it?
What do you mean by getting
Well,
it? Are you asking for like something or what?
Well, specifically, I was shown that someone's going to see what country we're supposed to go to in this room, and it wasn't me. And so that's what I'm asking. You can share anything you're getting besides that, but that specifically is what I was asking.
I was getting Italy,
Okay.
but at the same time, the Lord, as soon as we started to go in, He started telling me, rest in me. And literally, I'm resting in Him.
I was seeing Ukraine. Just saw just like some people needing help there.
I saw China and they need resources.
Okay. Wow. All of a sudden, I just saw, I don't know if it's what we're all supposed to do or if it's just me. But I saw us kind of from the heavenly realms releasing things over all of these countries at one time. So not it's not like I was doing everything all at once, but it's like each of us were releasing from heaven into the earth. And so we need to just pay attention to what is the Lord asking us to release, and what are we, how are we doing that? Okay. I just felt led to release these unicorns or war horses. It's like I was telling them they needed to go to battle.
I released through heaven clean water, and it's like purifying their water supply and some form of healing and medicine.
Yes, thank you, Lord. Patricia, I was just shown you need to release shalom.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
I know that nothing was said about Africa, but I just saw Yachim that you needed to position yourself to receive on behalf of all of Africa, especially the clean water, but maybe all of this.
Awesome.
Yeah. Robert, I don't know if you are hearing this or experiencing this, but I felt like you're more of a boots on the ground person. And especially in the Ukraine, it's more about like ministering to people on the ground there and not just from the heavenly realms. So you might focus there if you aren't already.
Yeah, I was I could feel like the fear and terror that was there, and could feel like me expanding who I was, bringing protection and peace and like calming, but I could feel like almost angelic forces protecting women and children. And then I felt like the whole atmosphere needed to be changed. Like I wasn't just to be cowering and protecting, but I was supposed to be like advancing and going forth against an enemy and shifting the whole reality.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I felt too like we were kind of all around Europe area too, and I felt something for Hungary, and then I felt like from there I felt like there's just saw this big well, and it was like the wells of life and the springing forth of life and like the depths of what God has for that nation, you know, being opened up and almost like it was so deep. I could see us being like a I don't know, kind of like the well where we had the ability to access the depths of it. You know, where they may have been just peer down into it and just like, well, how do we get it? You know.
Please keep sharing if you're getting anything.
I see that portals are being created. Godly portals are being created for China. And I see angels going in and just blessing the land for good crops for them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. 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 Mm.
I also see that Texas has some things going on. From heaven, it's like a godly chaos. It's like a wind blowing, knocking things over, I guess, some form of exposure and um, trying to rearrange the plans of the enemy. And I think that it's going to happen here in the US, other parts of the US as well. Um, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm. Mm.
I also see death for a lot of people that was really not serving the Father. I think they have power and major influence that is being and they're being removed.
Wow.
Mm. 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 Mm.
I feel kind of this great need that we all need to kind of turn our focus back to Yeshua and then to the Father and come into a state of worship. And so just let yourself be surrounded by Holy Spirit and Yeshua and then the Father. I feel like he is wanting to wrap us up into one kind of. I also feel like you might be led to draw other people to look at the Father right now. So people in the earth that you've been ministering to or something, that you can kind of point them as well. Okay, let's focus back here. Excuse me. Well, this week, if you could meet together, it would be wonderful. Especially because you want to try to expand what the Lord has for you in this area. Okay. I don't know if there's more that was going on that you weren't sharing or if you were just doing a whole lot of resting in the Lord, but whatever it is, it's fine. Let's just move forward and ask him for more intimacy, more experiences with him, more things that he can lead us into that maybe we haven't done before. Okay. So this week, how about Patricia and Fair and Robert and Yachim? Is that okay? Okay. Awesome. Sure. Okay. Actually, is it okay, Fair, if I share that with everyone? We can all do that real quick. I think that's a sure. You're muted. Okay, good. Okay. Fair just asked, will you engage over me to ensure the attacks did not stick? Okay. Can we all engage over that? Yeah. Let's do that real quick. Okay. Okay. Did anyone get anything? Or were you doing anything?
I didn't get anything.
Did anyone? I did. I just don't want to be the only one who shares all the time.
I was
I
speaking
get it.
mercy. I felt led to speak mercy
Amen.
over her.
Cool.
Come again? Didn't hear that?
She said she was led to speak mercy over her.
Amen.
Well, what I felt doing was like praying for the protection and let the armor of God to be released over you so that you may stand.
Mm.
Amen. Amen.
Robert, did you get anything?
Yeah, I did. I felt like felt like she needed rest. So I just released rest, and then I felt like there was instruction from God about what that was, about rest, but also about. And when I say rest, it doesn't mean it's like shifting it all to God instead of herself. Like allowing God to do what He's doing and not what she's perceiving that she needs to do, but she's allowing it, and then honoring her in what she's learning and the gift and what and letting it be built up and encouraged in her the way that it should be. So that's what I saw.
Awesome. I felt led to I don't know what you would call it, but basically put this, it's like a protective layer over her I'm going to say being, because it's in the physical and in the spirit and soul, everything kind of combined. But it's like this protective thing that clings to her, and it also is put all around your armor fair. So
Yes.
I was encouraged that Yachim was saying that, because I was seeing it also being put around your armor. And so it's like, it's almost like if you'd wear like a really tight rubber cat suit, you know what I'm saying? Like Catwoman or something, you know what I'm saying here? Or Batman sort of
Yes.
suit that's like really tight to your body. It's kind of like that, but in the spirit, and where it protects you, even though it's thin. And so anyway, I don't really understand it, but I know that I was led to do that. And so there's something to it.
Well, I appreciate you all. I thank you for that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Oh, go ahead, Robert. What'd you say?
I just said I also saw something about her being able to walk away from it and come back to it freely and not feel like that she was strapped to it, like she had
Yes.
to say, okay, I need a rest right now, and be able to go and rest and find a place of refuge, and then engage with it according to the will of the Father. But I could just see that it was like giving you the ability to perceive that you could walk away from it, that you could walk away.
Amen. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, I
think-
will right after this, as soon as it takes a little while for my computer to make the file available to then upload. But I will try to get that done in a very quick manner for you so you can watch the beginning part of it. Thankfully, I have no appointments for 2 hours. Are you guys, you shouldn't be as excited as I am right now, but I'm just like,
excited
I
for
need a
you.
break. I'm not totally packed today. And so anyway, I'll have time to do that more quickly. So I'll also send out your homework right now. And you'll be able to do that. But I love you guys. And if you need anything,
I
reach
love
out.
you.
Love you all too.
Love
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, bye.